Welcome. Today, we're diving straight into the dawn of freedom, India's independence. This is such a deeply human story, full of unbelievable sacrifice, monumental triumph, and, as we'll see, profound tragedy that ultimately birthed a brand new nation.
Part 1. The Long Fight for Freedom, a 200-year struggle.
To really grasp this struggle, I want you to picture a warm August night back in 1947. Millions of people are awake, just waiting, with this palpable hope in the air. But getting to that night, well, that meant sacrificing literally everything for one dream, freedom. This wasn't just handed over on a silver platter. It took generations of brave men, women, and even kids laying down their livelihoods, enduring brutal imprisonments, and tragically, giving their lives to make that single dream a reality.
Moving on to Part 2, Voices of the Resistance, the leaders who inspired a nation.
So a movement of this scale, it definitely couldn't rely on just one philosophy. You had Mahatma Gandhi famously mobilizing millions with the radical idea of peace and nonviolence. But at the exact same time, you had Bhagat Singh fighting fiercely for liberty, and Subhash Chandra Bose rising with incredible courage to challenge the British. And of course, alongside them were countless unnamed heroes. So the crucial point is, these were radically different methods, right? But despite those contrasting approaches, they shared one fiercely unified goal: taking their country back.
Part 3. Midnight on August 15. A Nation Awakens.
All right, so as the clock ticked closer and closer to midnight, the momentum reached an absolute fever pitch. Jawaharlal Nehru addressed the newly liberated nation, speaking of a tryst with destiny. Honestly, it's a moment that still gives you goosebumps just thinking about it. It was a promise made to destiny, finally redeemed at the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, but India awakens to life and freedom.
And the reaction? Pure, unfiltered euphoria. Across bustling cities and quiet rural villages, people completely erupted into celebration. We're talking tears of joy, waving the Indian tricolor and singing patriotic songs. Just imagine, for the first time in centuries, they were able to stand tall under their own sovereign flag.
Now Part 4. The Tragedy of Partition. Freedom's Heavy Cost.
We have to acknowledge that this newfound independence immediately came with profound sorrow. The brilliance of that August day was deeply intertwined with the physical and political severing of the land, and this brilliantly illustrates that devastating division into two dominions, India and Pakistan. This wasn't just a simple political line drawn on a map by departing rulers. It was a fracture that ripped right through communities, cultures, and literally centuries of shared history. The reality on the ground was absolutely catastrophic. Millions of people were suddenly forced to leave their ancestral homes, suffering unimaginable hardships. Entire families crossed borders in both directions, on foot or crammed into dangerously crowded trains, leaving almost everything behind. It's a stark, heartbreaking reminder that freedom often demands a devastatingly great sacrifice.
Which brings us to Part 5. The Legacy of Independence. Building a New Nation.
Despite the immense, heartbreaking trauma of partition, the people of India had a massive new country to run. So they forged their new democratic foundation on three core steps: equality, justice, and hope. They weren't just slapping together a government apparatus, They were actively designing a society meant to honor all those past sacrifices by promising fairness, democratic representation, and a brighter future for all of its citizens. And to keep that memory alive, every single 15th of August, the national flag is proudly hoisted to remember their courage. It's really not just some empty ritual. From the Prime Minister at the Red Fort in Delhi all the way down to the smallest local schools, it's this dedicated, powerful moment to look up at the tricolor and consciously remember the heroes, both named and unnamed, who made that flag hoisting possible in the first place.
Ultimately, freedom is defined here as a profound responsibility. A responsibility to protect unity, peace, and the values that make a nation strong. It's absolutely not just a date in a history book. It's a baton passed down from those original freedom fighters to every single subsequent generation. It's an active, ongoing civic duty that requires constant maintenance, not just a prize you win and put on a shelf. Which brings us to a question that should be ringing in all of our ears today. How will your generation protect the values of freedom? Because history is a continuum, right? And we are all actively participating in it right now. The heroes of 1947 made the ultimate sacrifices. So now the challenge falls entirely to us. How will you apply these profound lessons of unity, peace, and justice to your own life today? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep asking the big questions, and I'll catch you next time.